gosh. Here we go, guys. Let's do this. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in, and all of you that are going to be tuned in the near future. Glad to have you. This is number 2 of the not so planned live stream. I would like to do something like this every single weekend, and today I'm going to be joined by 2 formidable people in the industry. We're going to talk about a variety of topics, from candidates, training, the future, some of the crazy stuff that's happening lately. We're going to see. So, guys, just sit tight. They're going to be signing on in just a few minutes. Until then, I have with me 21-year-old Colombian rum porteño. Beautiful. What a relaxing way to end the weekend. Sort of. End the week. Guys, this is the first video I've produced in half a week, and that's because I totaled my Jeep. So earlier this week, I was in San Antonio, and a lady ran across 4 lanes of traffic trying to get into a gas station. And she dodged in between a truck and me, and there's just nothing they could do about it. So I've been down and out, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to do this live stream today. Sorry, I had to take these off because there's an echo and it's driving me absolutely crazy. But anyway, yeah, so she ran in and smashed my Jeep, and ever since then, my neck and my back have been absolutely killing me. So sitting for long periods of time in chairs, although this chair is kind of comfy. I don't know. It's just been one of those things. So I haven't done any videos lately, and sorry for that, guys, but life just kind of got a hold of me. So, but that stuff happens, right? So anyway, yeah, today I've got 2 fantastic people that are going to be joining us, and I've already kind of talked to them offline a while ago, and I told them, hey, when I get these live streams up and going, I want you guys to be on, all right? And today, about midday, I decided, you know something? Let's do a live stream. I'm actually feeling up for it. Although right now I know I'm laughing and sitting here all good. Mind you, I took some painkillers and stuff. Mild painkillers, guys. No pharmaceutical grade. Jeez, I don't want to get sloppy here on camera. But so anyway, yeah. Anyway, I apologize for not doing videos. And I do have a couple videos in the works, some real good ones. I just, have to get them over to the editor, which they're uploading currently. As soon as they're edited, maybe tomorrow, who knows, I'll post them, and, we'll press on. So let's see. Where are my participants? We are 6 o'clock. Yes! Here we go, guys. So I just wanted to give you guys a current update on myself and why I haven't been around much, and just is what it is, man. So anyway, if I have to introduce myself, guys, I'm Justin Barber. I've been a biomed for 20 years, and I'm vice president of Phoebe Medical, and I own the Better Biomed LLC, and a company that many of you guys probably didn't even know. It's called Creative Med. And through sales on eBay and stuff like that, I've been doing that for years, but it is a side hustle. I encourage a lot of people to have a lot of side hustles. So I do own 2 companies, and I'm vice president of the company. And I have been very fortunate with my career so far. It's taken me around this country, actually around the world, and very, very thankful for it. So. Hold on. Let me get my headset on because Mr. Danny's joining us. Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yes. That's 2 shows in a row that my audio is working.
Nice work, man.
All right. Danny, we have one other person who's going to be joining us. I assume that the problem is he booted his computer and he has to update Zoom. I hate it. But I boot this computer right here about once every 2 days, just to make sure that Zoom is updated. I get last minute meetings all the time. So, furthermore, let's go ahead and introduce yourself, Danny. Since you're here, let's go ahead and let's talk about you.
Oh, thanks, man. So I'm Danny Mobley. I guess I'll start with I'm a father of a daughter. I'm married happily, and I live in Florida. I've been in the industry for like 22 years. Started with UHS as a delivery driver. I was a cop in New Orleans before I became an industry guy. And so at 23, I started delivering medical equipment for UHS and learned the business, learned the equipment, learned the terminology, learned the customers. And then they gave me a sales job after like a year because like I wore a tie to work as a delivery driver. But that was fun. I went all night, some nights delivering ventilators in Oklahoma, which is where I'm from. So they gave me Tulsa, which was kind of a throwaway territory back in the day for them because they were
Really?
growing. They were like 100 million, and they were kind of growing at that point. And so I took the territory, kind of did operations half the time because they couldn't afford to have an operations guy there with me, and then the other half the time I did sales. Went out to Eastern Oklahoma and talked to the administrators, the CEOs and CFOs, and frankly, anybody who would talk with me, right? And they were small hospitals, and they needed help. So I did my best. And after about 5 years of doing this sort of dance with them, I listened, and they said, "Look, I can't afford what you're offering. It's just really, really too expensive." And so I started my own company. I was like 27, and I started a company called HMS Health, which still goes today. And from there, I kind of, after I had a capital event with HMS Health, I got into a company called SPBS, went from there to Crest Services, and from Crest Services was bought by Crothel. So I was at Crothel for a little while, back to SPBS, and now with Intermed for the past 5 years. So, and then I started, I had some success, right? So I won some big deals, and I won it the old fashioned way. I was at Rolling Plains in Sweetwater, Texas. I got a great friend who's a CEO there, and he introduced me to Hendrick Health, which is an Abilene, like 3-hospital system. And that relationship just sort of spawned into a deal where we won all their HTM after about 18 months. And then we won Presbyterian after that, which is a 9-hospital system in New Mexico, but it was off of the reference that I had at Abilene with Hendrick. So, long story short, had some success. And then over the past year, I had this like belly fire to, pay it forward. I was thinking about those CEOs from my early days in Eastern Oklahoma and how could I help them? Because they always told me, they said, "Look, man, we're going to pour into you." And they did. They did great by me. If you care, if you put in effort, if you're here when things get bad, and if you can pay it forward whenever you get the opportunity. So I always had that in the back of my mind. And so with my little bit of success, my little bit of money, I started Humans of Healthcare. So I founded that about 6 months ago, technically. But I just, I heard from a guy named Gary Vee, he just said, start. If you just start, then you'll be ahead of most of the game. And I have no business being on video. I really don't. I'm just a normal guy. So here I am, on Justin's awesome show here. And I just can't believe I'm here, but I love it. I get to pay forward. I've had some great experiences over the past 6 months and, hoping to help.
Excellent, man. Well, hold on. This is going to drive me absolutely crazy. So although we have working audio, I have about a 1/4 second delay between these. Let me switch these out. I have so many options right here. But so Humans of Healthcare, you've had a variety of people on your show already. Who all have you been interviewing?
So it's meant for anybody, right? I'm looking for stories of anybody who interacts with healthcare at all. Obviously, I have my heart with our industry, but I also am trying to help healthcare executives. So I've had a number of CEOs on. I've had CIOs. I've had Scott Becker. I've got a couple of other people lined up that are exciting, but everybody I've actually reached out to and asked, they've actually said yes. And I've been super surprised by that. So I've got some really cool stuff coming up. But really, it's the stories that get the most attention on Humans of Healthcare are people like you and I. Everybody's interested in hearing how we interact, how we got to where we got to. So like Luke Sharkey, he was a big hit. He's a guy in our industry from Waco who's been at Baylor Scott and White for years, and he's retiring. And he's like, "Man, I'd love to share my knowledge with people as I'm on the way out. And I've talked to a lot of people in that, same vein that just, have a lot to give still, and they're retiring, but they love it, right? They still have that passion. They have all this knowledge. I hate to see it go to waste. So I'm looking for those types of folks too. And so I'll do a shameless plug. So if you're interested and you think you have a story and you want to tell the world, please, that it's call to action. You can fill out a form, when you come to the site, and we'll be happy to talk to you and tell your story.
Yeah, man. Oh, wow, that's really loud. Oh, there we go. Sorry, my audio is like all over the place. Oh, man. So last time me and you had a talk, there's Gary. Last time me and you had a talk, we talked for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It seems like it was a forever. But I mean, that's how organic the conversation really was. And it just blew me away. So I'm really happy that you are here and you're able to take this moment with me, especially on a Saturday night. Because I have a variety of topics. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the industry lately. But before we get on to that, man, I love having clear audio. Oh, Gary Knopp, the infamous Mr. Gary. Gary, how you doing, sir? Do you got good audio? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I did something. Let me find out what I did. Okay.
How many
There we go.
biomeds does it take? Hey, Gary, go ahead and tell us about yourself, sir. I know you're infamous in the industry. He's got a fascinating story. Gary, go ahead and give us the lowdown on your experience, man, because it's up there.
All right. So, yes, I'm Gary. You probably, the LinkedIn community probably already aware of me or know me by now, right? And thank you, Justin, was, come, but I guess you get bored on the weekend and you just want to invite someone to talk. So I decided to look on LinkedIn and I saw it and I say, you know what, that intrigued. I just want to get in and see what we can talk about. And it's just amazing. I didn't see Danny was come on board that too. So this is like, it's not a coincidence. I think this is by faith. So three of us will talk about, about biomed. That's awesome. And so everyone probably know that a lot of things that I would want to say thank to Danny that is amazing, inspire and interview me, and then he let me all out to share about my life story and also my professional career. I don't need to say much more. If you want to know more, just please continue to log into LinkedIn or TikTok and finding out what's about me and how I become. So it's all there. Again, I has been done doing this kind of work for over 30 years. My experience and my career, it started with the consumer electronics,
Yep.
working in from manufacture all the way to Circuit City, and then start my own business and do very well, and then move on into the biomed world through the passion that, as you can follow the interview between me and Danny, it took place in year 2000. I got so sick and almost lost my life, and I lost everything. And the day that I was at the hospital, it was horrible biomed that didn't take care of the equipment well done. That would led to my inspire and say, you know what, it's enough. It's now I'm going to join the field. You know what? Never a moment after I joined it, like I took off that career set and it's move on. So moving to that, it's just like I was reiterated on Danny, posting about me, and I talk about perfection, And to you, Mr. Justin, you very young man. You did not
Not
go
so
to
young
school or
anymore.
anything, but your passion to perfect it. You know what I mean? Amazing that you perfect your skills set and look at now. And this is what I want to, and like we all talk here, right? Invite the biomed people to just perfect your own skill set. If
It's
you
your
perfect
craft.
it,
Yeah.
life will change forever. I memean, life will change forever. It's time and time we don't perfect it. We intend to be like I call a lukewarm, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, I'm so I'm okay, I'm get by, I make good living. But you know what? How life for you, and that if you look back 30 years in your career, how is your life been transforming you, right? If you inspire and want to be transformed, then perfect it. That's what I did. I perfect in my career, and you know, amazing. It's only in America, I can tell you. I mean,
I completely agree. So what Gary was referencing is there is an interview. I will leave a link to that in the video description down below so you guys can check it out. Gary has an incredible story. I mean, you're talking from communist Cambodia, how he had to run out and him and his family dashed for their lives. I mean, if you guys don't know the history of Cambodia and like the killing fields and just absolutely a travesty on humankind, what happened there, and the people that survived it are thriving, and Gary is a perfect example of that. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to leave a link down below. I mean, just thinking about it, it's just insane what you must have gone through. But since then, you have gone through a lot of stuff too. So Gary, you've got some interesting stories from stateside. While you're down the venture of clinical engineering, you, sir, are training a lot of people, aren't you?
Yes, yes. So that's the passion I had since year 2000. I decided, you know what, I need to teach people the right way. So the equipment stopped no longer neglected. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. I took people, and here's the thing. I start from the Dignity Health in my town in Bakerfield, but then TriMedic came in. They just tell good people bye, go away because the corporate right now. So again, on to Danny was interviewing me. I was 1 year. I took 1 year off. Went on depressed. But people, right? When we go on depressed, we intend to boo,
Oh yeah.
drugs, right? And dwell on the past. I wasn't. I'm trying to think about what have I done wrong to get them to just say reject Gary's service. That the good thing that I done, right? Until one day my wife had enough of me in a year that I stayed home.
Mhm.
She just say to me, like, she said, "Hey, you're so talented. Why don't you go do something?" It was angry me that day. I packed my clothes, put in my suitcase, and put in my work van, and I just say, "I'm not gonna come home." She said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm not gonna talk about it."
Right.
You know what? When I go from my home to go north first. I hit north from Fresno all the way to Sacramento to San Francisco. You could not believe I find work. Like people, Gary, where you been? I need a talent like you. I say, oh my God. So I'm back. I was in die with no meaning, no motivate, right?
Mhm.
So there we go. I started again. I say, you know what? This is my passion. So I stop along the way, every town and city, connect with people and bring them in and just work them, teaching them and working them in that all the way. And I bike to Southern California. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just bike and forth. And the day all of my wife finding out that where the hell the check come from? Never came from. He goes home. I
Gary,
said, hey, I find plenty work. Like
you
I'm
have
no longer depressed.
plenty
I'm no
of
longer
reason to be upset. I mean, so the reason that I really love talking to you is because I don't really subscribe to victim mentality. It's something that I think limits people. They put up their own personal barrier and they just will never get past it. They'll never be successful because that's as far as they are. They're a victim and that's as far as it goes. I understand there are real victims out there, but victimhood is a mentality. And you, sir, you have made and lost fortunes, and you still come through. You're still a fighter. And my first talk I ever had with you, on a napkin, I drew out with this concept, this idea of training, which I have right back there, that board right back there.
Yeah.
And I have a DC trainer right here that I'm building currently. I drew that out on a napkin because Gary is one of these type of people who motivates you and you're like, you know something? There has to be a better way. So as we're talking about it, I'm like, Gary, I got this crazy concept and I drew it on a napkin. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. And that was my first conversation ever with Gary. And it's just absolutely fascinating. And there's living proof right there. And I know you're doing something like that out there in the West, because you have to have physical examples to train people. You yourself, you do believe in a lot of training. Here's my question to both of you guys. Since you're both in this industry for a while, how do you feel about the quality of technicians that are currently out in the field right now?
Danny, you can answer first.
Okay. I think that it's really that they're good, and I think we just haven't gotten to them yet. Like I think
Okay.
what I mean is that the people with the good hearts are the ones I run into the most, and they have all the potential in the world, but I don't see anybody investing in them, and not just what Gary does. It's more encouraging. You know, it's I heard somebody say the other day that people die every day for lack of just a word of encouragement. And so I believe that in our society, there's so much, you know, negativity that if we just focused on encouraging the people that we do have, I think this could be you know, a much better industry. And so I think it's on the leadership of this industry to take that responsibility. That's my take.
That's a good take. One of the things that I tell people all the time, actually, I go around and I talk to colleges all the time, and one of the things I tell them is you're already subscribed to this commitment, and the commitment is you are now in a skilled trade, and it's a lifetime commitment of giving back because people are investing all this knowledge, time, energy, and money into you for the rest of your life. As you build skills and knowledge, you have to give back. It's your obligation. It's not your want, it's your obligation. And it's very true. I think part of it is that people have not been empowered. One of the ways, interestingly enough, I never did public speaking before I started working for Phoebe. And my boss, my first week there, he said, I want you to give the speech at the next HTMA. So that gave me like 4 or 5 days to prep. And I was like, but again, it's one of those set people up just enough where they might fail and watch them succeed. But you're absolutely right, Danny. Absolutely right, man. I need more people like my boss who kind of set people up and see, because I could have embarrassed him and his company publicly. I could have. But I mean, so
Love that story because when you think about our trade, you think about the technical responsiveness to, you know, problems that have to do with equipment. But when I think about us, I'm thinking, all right, we got this group of people that have this amazing skill set, and typically will do anything to help somebody, right? And then, like you said, I love the word empowerment is a big one. And if he gave you the empowerment, that's a huge step. But then you got Gary in his world, he's training the whole person, right? He's training them on every aspect of how to be a good tech. That's not just about technical training. It's about, I'm going to take you as somebody who may, you know, like I was a guy that just got introduced to UHS. I didn't know equipment. You know, the biggest obstacle for me was terminology. You know, somebody was calling an IV pump something different. I'm like, what the, you know, and so, but then Gary told me stories about the way he brings people in. You know, he'll look into their heart and see if they've got what it takes, and then he'll invest his own money and his own time into those people. And it won't just be about the equipment and how to fix it and, you know, how to prepare it. He's like, he's going to send them off into the world. They got to be prepared, you know. So Gary's got an amazing take on this, I think.
Oh, I agree. So I actually made the comment earlier that he's made and lost fortunes. I should actually check that. It's not that Gary has necessarily lost fortunes. He's invested tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, back into the industry. So it's not that he's lost fortunes. It's that he's made many commitments. Some of those commitments didn't pan out. Some of them have been amazing. But Gary, what's your thoughts as far as like the quality of technicians and your goals?
Me, the quality of the technician is there, but here's a two factor like Danny and you were talking about. Leadership, it's pushing and helping them thrive is one factor, but the big factor in individual. You know the word to say that if I lead a horse to a water, I can't forcing it. So an individual human being, okay, have that be their own characteristic. Remember we talking about perfection, okay? So this is the key point. If you want to become a better environment or perfect your world, right? So let's just say on your free time, right? Read more, finding out more every day. If you could, this is what I enlighten my people when I bring them in, mentor them, and teaching them. I say, look, all I'm asking you to do is that when I send you to go to work at the hospital, if you see the new equipment down there, all I want you to do one day, get the model number, the seal number, send it to us. We're researching it. We finding out how to do the PM, how to do repair. We send it by to you. We want you to meditate on that and just focus on that. If you can do that, that's how you better yourself. So that's the thing. It's about team. About we hold each other a balance and what do you call it? What accountable. Okay,
Right.
we hold each other. If we can hold that, then we succeed. Now, time and time, the hospital. I'm not smear no one. I'm just speaking the truth here. Time and time, we work at the hospital, right? The hospital they lack of money, okay, of financial. I get that, but remember, we can't just depending on them because they gave us an institution, right? The place to work, we make money. So we need to reinvest our own by saying, okay, I want to go better. I want to go above and beyond. Then invest a little of time into read up on the product and do it right. Read it and do it right by the manufacturer. And you know what? Manufacturer, they always have tech support that those people work for a living. And you know what they do? They really eager to have us calling them, okay? So they're getting paid. They're getting a job. So if we don't call, they don't have a job. That lead to me when I worked for RCA as a consumer electronic. I was a engineer, tech
Yeah.
support. You know what? When not many phone calls coming to the line, my boss always get on my case. You know what I mean? Say, Gary, how many you answered it? Well, not much. Well, then go do something else. You see what I'm saying? So we like that. We want people to call because that's how we're getting paid. So I encouraging our young generation environment that replacing all of us that old. Look at me, I'm 60, I'm on my way out, right?
You're
So
60?
and encourage it to promote them to say, guys, don't be so eager about I know everything. No, submit yourself, say you don't know. That way you learn better. You know what I mean?
I
And
completely agree.
call the manufacturer, call the tech support. They would eager to tell you how to do it right. They're not gonna, I mean, degrade you or say you retard or whatever. No, they would love to hear from you. So
Gary,
that's my take on it.
I completely agree. Here's something. What 2 or 3 things do you think somebody can do? This is for both of you guys, to improve themselves. And I'm talking low cost, what they can start doing today to be more competitive and to improve themselves. What do you think?
Great question. I think Gary hit on one thing is, know your resources. I'll start with a little story. I'll go fast. Bill Hewlett of Hewlett and Packard,
Okay.
like 1980, he got a call. I think it was maybe around that 80s. He got a call from a young kid that was 12 years old, and the kid asked for some parts, right? And he was trying to build something, and he was a computer guy. He wanted to be in computers, and he got his number out of the phone book. This kid and just called. Bill answered, and like, yeah, I'll be happy to help you, and then put him in some sort of program for young kids that wanted to learn about computers. And that kid was Steve Jobs. And I don't think there's a coincidence to the fact that Steve Jobs can call for help, and he said in an interview that he calls for help, and it's really uncanny how many people say yes. So I think that's an interesting point that Gary brought up is call for help and see what happens, and don't think that you can't call the guy that you admire or revere. Like I would call them first, frankly.
Right.
And it's
Of course.
right?
It's
So,
initiative. Absolutely.
yeah, and they love that stuff. Like I love it when people call me and want. I did some
course.
Gen Z interviews, right? My daughter's a Gen Zer, so I got a little bias there. But what we talk about is, in their world, they're not going to stay in a situation that's unhealthy. Not for them, not any longer. They have too many choices. They have too much knowledge of what's out there for them. So if I'm a Gen Zer and I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm going to do something that sets me apart from everybody else by reaching out and taking control of my own destiny, frankly. So I think that's a free thing that you can probably do is just reach out
Yes.
and ask for help. And I think that before you do that, you got to know where you want to go, right? So create this vision for yourself. And if you can create a clear path to the vision, then I happen to almost guarantee, and if I can help you with this, I'm happy to. If you make the calls to get the help, you'll get there. You'll get on the path and you'll stay on the path, and then you'll get to where you want to go, I think.
We actually talked about that in that 2-hour-long conversation that we mentioned earlier, and that is if you have a goal and you define your goal, people will go out of their way to help you reach that goal. And actually, going off of some other things that we've talked about, I did start reading a book called Burn the Boats.
Nice. Yes.
And you would be surprised. Arnold Schwarzenegger was also one of the most famous people out there that said, get rid of your plan B. Because, I mean, that way there, you're fully committed. So you have to fully commit. But you are absolutely right. Define your goal. Reach out to people. And I tell people all the time, LinkedIn, you can contact executives of companies. And at first, when I started using LinkedIn, I was also sketchy on it because I was keeping my network to like Biomed 2s, Biomed 3, stuff like that. Now, after a while, I was like, something, screw that. Let's start adding like executives of companies and stuff, because also when you create a network, it's bi-directional, right? It's not always like, I want something from you. Maybe you want to hear what they have to say, because they'll post job openings. They will post about what they're looking for in ideal candidates, etc. So why aren't you listening to them? I mean, but you're absolutely right. Define yourself, and then stick out from the crowd and reach out to people. Network, 100%.
Robert Brault, a poet, he said, "We're kept from our goals not by obstacles, but by a clear path to a lesser goal." So if you get that, you'll understand that it comes down to the effort, I think, too, that goes into staying on that clear path. But if you don't have a clear path, you're going to end up someplace that's lesser than you want to be. And I love that quote. It really describes the most successful people that I admire. I feel like they're always on a path towards something, and they know very clearly where they're going, in my opinion.
That's very true. Gary, what about you? What do you think, sir? What are some things that people can do to set themselves apart or to excel?
My way of looking at it, learn to accept yourself. You know what I mean? Accept yourself. But don't try to please other but you. Okay? So let me give you a perfect example. I ride a Harley Davidson on the weekend. Okay?
What?
I love it. Yeah, I ride. So I go to my local dealership and bought a Harley. Okay? So the Harley sending you a membership called Hawk for 1 year free. Okay? It's free. So no charge. You buy the Harley. They give you 1 year for free. And the join at $45. But if you don't want to join your ownership of your bike, they give you that free. So all these people, they always come out to me, Gary, come and join the club and let's mango. You know what? Here's what I set apart from them. Anybody say, I appreciate it, but I did not buy my motorcycle to please you or to be your club, okay? I buy because I privilege and I love it. I want to ride when I want to ride. I don't want people to tell me how to ride it, how to stop, and how to drink, how to not drink. No, I just please, okay? You know what? It makes sense. They all stop, approach minute. Sometimes I got a different gangster group, the same thing. Hey, Mr. Gary, I always see you. Why don't you join your club? And I say the same thing. I say, why would I join your club? You know what I mean? I buy my own bike that I pay for it. I want to ride the way I want. Did you pay for that bike? I shut them up. They walk away from me, no longer engaged. You see, this is all about us, about an inward. Remember, I just did that. A reply to Danny was a post on me, right, Danny? And I talk about inward, the inspiration that God gave us talent, or we're all born with talent, okay? But instead of we look at inward, we rather look outsource to finding answers. That means we go find a buddy, social with someone, how to please other, and then we go cuckoo ourselves. Let's just stop that.
Right.
Let's just cool inward, you know what I mean? Ourselves. If we can please ourselves, we will find success with our life. It's rather than look at the mirror and see Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm 5 foot tall, you know what I mean? And he was 7 foot, like a twin brother. You know
He's not 7 foot. He's not 7 foot.
I don't want to climb to be like him.
Gary, I had no idea that you're gangstering the gangsters. I had no clue. On the weekend, he rolls deep.
I know. I should have known better.
Wow.
Listen, what are your thoughts on that one, Justin?
That's amazing. Well, so obviously, when it comes to me, I am absolutely addicted to networking. You mentioned earlier about finding answers in other people. It's going to sound so corny and so crazy, but if I have a problem, I might know the answer. I will still post the problem out there on public websites so that other people who really are subject matter experts will chime in. Meanwhile, I could have spent 30 minutes looking up the problem. I will be over here boogering off working on something else while somebody's answering my question. The thing is yes, I could find the answer, but I only see this far, right? I'm putting it out there to a network of like 10,000 plus people. I'm going to get the correct answer. And if anything, by me stating something publicly, more people can see that answer. So more people are aware that this problem exists and that this guy's the subject matter expert, that whoever answers me, right? Because there are some real smart people out there in clinical engineering. So networking is paramount for searching for jobs, for sticking out from the crowd. I mean, you can obviously do things, even like your own podcast or something. You can talk about your day. What did you do today?
Right.
You know, and every biomed has the craziest day. I promise you. It's just they don't think so, but they do. Your interactions with nurses and customers and your drive to work and going between clients, just contracts that you sealed the deal on. This is fascinating stuff, guys. But everybody thinks, now I have nothing to say, so I'm not going to do it. Or they don't have the motivation. So
Love it.
definitely networking is number one when it comes to your career. Number two, education's free nowadays. All right? Education is free.
Yep.
There's not, if you want to learn about how to do a triple bypass, I promise you can go on YouTube, you can look up how to do it, and you'll have a surgeon walking you step by step through how to do a triple bypass. Who knew, right? This is the craziest thing. You'll have neurologists talking you step by step through how they do nerve blocks. It's crazy. You're learning from the experts, stuff that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that level of training. They wrote books, they're in clinical journals, and that's just medical stuff. I mean, engineering, you can go to people that work for NASA and watch their YouTube channel and they'll tell you about electron flow theory and stuff. It's crazy. These are the people in the industry. Right now, in our time of being alive, these people have content that you can go and get for free. It's just your motivation.
You know what you say that it reflects to every day when I train my my internship program for all the year, and that's all I told them. I said, look, when you go to work and when you don't know something or you get stuck, why dwell on reading a technical book that you had no clue to understand? It's going to take you 30 minutes to an hour that you don't have. One phone call to the manufacturer tech support, they're an expert, they'll walk you through in 2 seconds into the problem. Here's time and time that in our mind thinking of people, you know this, I'm going to hit this thing. Like a problem with all of us as a human being, we have so much pride. You understand that now? We have pride. That pride that leads us to does not want to need help by I'm gonna try my own way first. You know, that's a dangerous thing, especially when we work, we deal with money, with financial. You know, I used to run a electronic repair shop, right? The way we getting paid from customers. Let's just say a customer bring me a TV and I quote them $150 to fix the TV, example. If I pay my guy $50 an hour and he take 4 hours, I mean, I'm already lost my money. Don't you see that?
Yep.
And that's what I telling people. Say, no, I cannot go into the business by losing it. So if you have a problem you can't solve, you got to call them right away. But the way the hospital work environment are different. Let me show you why different. They run based on budget.
Yep.
So they don't hold nobody accountable because of budget. You know what I mean? So those guys, they don't understand their theory concept. Hey, if I getting paid $50 an hour, it's 2 hours into it. I'm $100 costing the hospital, okay, the community that much. So if they would have think that way, they would have stopped and say, you know what, I gotta call an expert. This is what I teach my guys. Say, don't you ever think that, because you have to be a good steward, whatever they pay you, and also you learn faster by you calling them instead of you frustrated trying to read the technical manual
Hmm.
that you are brand new. How would you know? It
Most
take
technical
me 30
manuals
years
nowadays
of,
are absolute garbage anyway, Gary. Most,
yes,
so I mean,
exactly.
so here that goes back into Danny and Mai's point about networking. All right, so
Mm,
your local sales reps, your any technician that comes in your facility to work on that equipment, even if it's third party, add them to your LinkedIn, right? Add them to your
mm-hmm,
phone book on your phone. And then when you have a question, reach out to them. And if anything, most people respect the fact that you asked. Yes,
mm-hmm.
as like an OEM uh, technician, it might be annoying to get those kind of calls, and they might tell you to get a PO. But at least you can go and get a PO and you get your answers, right? You're
Yes,
absolutely right. Time is critical. And so
yes,
in my rules of repair, I talk about that if you have the time, you should explore problems to find out why they happened. Because if it's happening on this device, it's probably happening on the others. And I don't know about you guys, but just being honest, most service reports that I'm getting from OEMs are absolute garbage. They don't say exactly why they think that this board is dead. They don't even tell you always what board is dead. They just say like changed out a couple boards, did a speed calibration. It's like, what? You did what? Wait a minute. So they're leaving out a lot of context. It's fascinating, and that takes me right into the next topic, which is going to be right to repair. Obviously, my channel is very pro right to repair, and this week is a very big week for every single one of us because California passed a law for right to repair. So they joined Colorado
yes.
and Massachusetts. So Gary, do you know about that law out there in California? What's going on with it?
I follow Nader. You know, Nader, he's a very active on that.
Okay.
I used to volunteer and write repair acts back in the 80s. Even though consumer electronics, they are fighting us not to get any access. But I was active back in the 80s, okay? But then I gave up because it's getting nowhere. I kind of like, you know what? And then the 90s, I get it again. And then when I joined the environment, I see that, oh my God. So you guys have this problem too. And then I followed Nader. Nader, he's more active, involved. And I'm happy for my brother Nader. He is continue on, not give up. And I saw from LinkedIn what last week, and he posts on there say, "Hey, Governor Newsom just signing us a bill that passing it." I like, man, this is amazing. I mean, like
Yep.
I'm jumping for joy. I mean, I always time that I talk to people regarding right to repair act, but a lot of our brothers that in the environment world, they kind of like get in and get out. Like I'm not interested. This is
Right.
heartbreaking. You know what I mean? More
No.
and more, you as a hero, your dad is hero later, and the people that so believe in the environment career, right? And devote their spare time to go to get little, I mean, deal with the government and try to get all this. I applaud those heroes. You know, they the one that set apart, and that's what we all need to be. That set apart, like you just asked about the environment today. That's what I'm talking about. If passionate and you make a living out of it, be passionate about and involved. You know what I mean? If we get involved, had a big boy,
Yeah.
you know what? Everything gonna listen to us. But the problem we don't. We kind of like shy away. Like I don't
Well,
want to be a
a
part
lot
of
of people don't
it. It's
understand
sad.
that they have voice. You know, professionally, every single one of us have a voice. I mean, Gary's very active on social media. Danny is on social media, and he's on YouTube. I mean, obviously, I contribute every single place I can. Every single person out there has a voice and a unique perspective. And if only people voice their opinion more openly, we would have faced these issues 20 years ago. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is a cultural shift, and it's a good thing because right now, like, believe it or not, I just changed out the screen on this phone. I couldn't have done that a couple years ago.
Right.
I mean, a couple
Yeah.
years ago, Samsung wasn't handing out screens for these phones, and you had to get like a cheap Chinese knockoff LCD with a poor response uh,
Right.
refresh rate. It's, it just is what it is. And guys, the right to repair it. If it's not proof that it's happening in the last 2 years alone, we've received multiple laws that have actually pushed forward right to repair on tractors. We've gotten right to
Yeah.
repair on consumer electronics. So every single one of us is in the third party realm. And I honestly, even as consumers, regular consumers, it's going to be a positive aspect for everybody because it creates more jobs. I mean, if you wanted to start your own cell phone repair company in California, you can get official OEM parts. I haven't read the law, just context, little footnotes of it, but I need to read it in detail because there's always some loopholes. But it's one of those things. It's a movement forward, and when we're talking about like technicians and being technical, you have to have resources, and one of those resources is manuals, and we have to have parts, manuals and parts and training. Obviously, the big three. So, guys, right to repair. It's kind of crazy. This week is just fortuitous that California passed that law, but Danny, you yourself have been around the repair industry for many years. What's the struggle like been for you? Because you've been trying to get some of these large contracts and stuff, and your hands are tied on many issues.
Yeah, they do make it hard. I mean, the thing, my heart goes out to the hospitals, right? They really suffer because of this. And, with the financial struggles, I mean, there's two things that I find that hospitals are most concerned about: financials and then labor, retention and attraction of labor, right? So those two are always at top of mind with the healthcare executives that I talk to. And so we're trying to find creative ways to help them save money. But what I see that the OEMs doing, unfortunately, again, it's just data, but their prices have gone up so much. The hourly labor rates have gone, in some cases, up to $1,500 an hour for overtime on imaging equipment, right? So it's getting ridiculous, and I just don't feel like they're in touch with what's really happening. They're just all about the money. And so what I hope we can do, I find that there's strength in numbers, but there's also strength with clarity. So as we get really familiar with what this is in the movement, I think if we can have a clear message back to the clients and give them their options and help them find confidence in what their options really are, that's where I kind of tend to think that we'll all benefit from that. So I don't know how to talk about it today. I just know that I've been in the struggle for so long, and it's been something where in the back of my mind, I've felt inferior, frankly, as I've been out here. I feel like I've been fighting like the giant, and I'm David. Not that I'm, like I'm not David, but you know what I mean. It's like you feel like you're a small person
Yeah.
fighting a Goliath, and then you do all this creative stuff that really makes a lot of sense to try to win. And I'm hoping that through that creativity, we'll find all the positive outcomes, right? Because we did a lot of really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But wouldn't it be a lot easier if we could just get access to parts and knowledge that the hospitals have really, I think, in my opinion, bought when they purchased the equipment, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So like, I'm looking forward to California opening up and us learning that, hey, why don't we just go to vendors in California who are buying, or maybe we go set up a PO box in California and buy from there. I don't know, but there's got to be some cool stuff that we can do now.
So I haven't read if there's any loopholes for medical technology. I don't know if it just is in the realm of regular electronics.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of like Colorado was the farmers' right to repair, and Massachusetts was the automotive. If you think about it, it's kind of like how you attack anything. Like, let's say gun control or something. They always take little bites, right? Little bites here and there until they move the ball in the correct direction. And that is exactly what we're doing on right to repair, is we're taking little bites. The public, the more they're aware of it, the fact that it exists, it's a real problem. Anybody that's had to go and get their vehicle repaired and they have to take it to the dealership and to change out your brakes and to reset the computer, it costs $3,200. If that doesn't piss you off, you're throwing money out. You're just burning it for no reason. And that's how it is for medical equipment. I mean, over the years, they've turned towards flat rate repairs. It used to be back in the day when we had to ship something out to get it repaired, they would itemize all the stuff that's wrong and you'd get a bill that's itemized. Now, $4,000 flat rate repair, $3,200 flat rate repair, $1,800 flat rate repair, and it might just be a little power switch. They don't care. The LifePak 20s, perfect example. There's a little 2032 coin cell battery, but to change it out, which I've proven I can do in about 5 minutes flat, they charge $3,200, if I remember right. it was about $3,200 because they have a flat rate repair fee. Well, I mean, it's a battery, right? It's going to go bad. So I don't know. We're right in this beautiful realm of technologies catching up. Medical is networking more, so we know more about what we have in our inventory. And at the same time, I believe that we're going to have more access to information soon, very soon.
Yeah, and so just I think, you know, as I love the way you put it, we're taking bites of the elephant. Eventually, we're going to be able to, you know, swallow the whole thing. But I still think it comes back to, you know, Gary said something earlier about this. Like, let's focus on what we can do to make the consumer, the hospital, and the end user very confident in our abilities. And there's so much we can improve on internally, right? That by the time we're able to buy these parts, it's all very clear. I figure like we'll be so much better just because we're fighting. I mean, we're in the dirt. We're fighting really hard every day. We don't have near the advantages that they have. I mean, sorry. I mean, and so when you have that, like, let's just use that strength, you know, that we're going to gain from this creativity, this hard work, and then find, I think, the way we message that, the way we show up in front of the customer. And this is the beauty. I mean, I think you and I talked most about this. We have so much that we're doing that our customers don't hear about, right? And it's, you know, there's this sort of introverted nature in our world, and we even joke about it amongst ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool. We can joke with each other. I don't like when people joke about it outside of our group, but, you know, nonetheless, like we know that if we communicate, and we got really good at telling people what we did in a way to where it's concise and, you know, and something that they saw value in. I mean, we're unstoppable. You know, we're already doing the hard stuff. I think talking about it's a lot easier, but I think we need, you know, we as this group, you know, people who are, I don't know, out there, we have some courage to get out on.
I call it the community.
Yeah, the community.
The community.
So we can help people with confidence in talking about it, right? That's where I hope, you know, with Justin, you and I, when we talked, was, you know, maybe we focus on that. When you talk about personal development and professional development, is how to communicate all the cool stuff we're doing so that it's, you know, it's almost like using the same keywords over and over again to where you say it enough where the industry will get it, the market will understand it. And it's repetitive and it's boring, but it's super effective. So
Absolutely.
if we came together and had this right message, I mean, we could kill it. We could kill it.
I agree. I completely agree. You know, really, it's about access to information. And as social media increases and we are more omnipresent in social media, we're going to share way more information, including software and stuff that they never wanted us to get. It's going to happen. But anyway, P West has been a wonderful communicator on here. Says vendor service reports are garbage, but I wonder if OEMs keep the fix secret, keep you on a string. Absolutely. How many times have we gotten an error code and they don't say what the error code means? I've even had with like Zeiss microscopes, an error code for a fan be for a power switch that's defective someplace else on the machine. No relation electronically whatsoever. Don't tell me they didn't obfuscate that on purpose. I mean, come on. It's just the way it is. And yeah, they're not going to say unit gave this error code means this. If you went to an auto shop and your car has this error code, in the service report, it will almost always say error code R32. R32 equals, you know, master cylinder error, replace master cylinder. That's how a automotive service report reads. Your medical service report will never read anything like that. Not anytime soon, maybe soon. We'll see how right to repair. And then P West goes on to say, with right to repair slowly building, I wonder about OEMs raising prices on parts. We've already seen that. We've already seen that. And in some ways that's okay, because you're increasing local familiarity in your equipment, which we've already deemed makes you more effective as a team, and you can service your equipment better locally. So we've already proven that. And training to offset the money that they made on service calls, well, they would have to offset the, you know, it is cost prohibitive. We've seen that where they, let's say on cell phones, they'll change the cost of a screen to be 3/4 the cost of a replacement phone. So why would you do it? Well, I'll do it because I've got so much information and money on this phone. There's no way I'm transferring this to another phone. I will buy another phone on the used market and I will transfer my data over to the used phone. or I'll pay the 2/3 price to get my original phone back because I I have so much time, energy, and money invested into what's on this phone. So that's why. And medical equipment's the same way, guys. It's the same exact way.
Yeah, and Justin, the thing that I see when I am most confident is when I have a great relationship with the customer. Not just the one we work with every day, but the administration of the hospital or the entity that we work with. And when they confide in me, that that ball game's over, right? Because if we're doing what we're supposed to do when they have a call for service, value the call for service. First of all, they trust us enough to call us. Then we can say, look, here's the truth about what's happening. If you call them and get that part yourself, it's going to be less, and that's fine. But
Mhm.
they're looking for confidence in their decisions because they don't know. Like you just said, I mean, that having value in your data, they feel the same way. We just got to help them through that process. And when they trust us with that call for service, when they trust us enough to come to us for service, I think that's where we win the most. And then it won't matter what the OEMs do, right? I mean, it really won't. They'll get their own black eye. I think Moneyball, the movie, when you watch
Yeah.
that, the guy says if they're going to go over, if they're going to hurt themselves, just keep letting them hurt themselves, right? And we'll just keep being there for the clients. And the more confidence they get, the more knowledge they get, then the OEMs are going to look foolish by charging more. We'll find a way.
It's interesting, the people that are on this panel, because they would be the ones to actually appreciate this, is the fact that a lot of people, when they talk about right to repair, they think about first world countries, everything's local, everything, is in big cities. There are probably at least half the hospitals out there are remote. They're dislocated from normal society. They're out there. They're on their own. They're trying to survive. Their budgets are much less. Local talent, we try to train them up because response time's everything, right? So what do you guys think about that? Because that's something a lot of people don't think of. Right to repair also supports non-mainline countries. All right, so right to repair supports 15 years down the road, the middle of Africa, they're going to get this machine. Do they have a schematic for it? It's the same kind of thing. So what do you guys think about that? Because there are other implications to right to repair that most people don't even want to talk about because they're unavoidable.
To me, it's very valuable into industry, the professional we all in. And remember, it's the thing that I hit hard all the time that people neglect, talks about it, but not talk about it. The, the pain point. The pain point for all that we asking the manufacturer to supporting us that they bite off from that. It's about profit and money for the shareholder. That's a big thing.
Mhm.
But they don't look at patient is the one that pay for that. You see what I'm saying? So if they give access to all of us professionally, okay, third party, whatever, if they give that, it benefit all. It also in it, they go by and reflect and benefit them, but they don't see that. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I need to say this so manufacturers listening. I want them to open up their vision, their idea by saying, this is not a bad idea. If you open up for all of us to work together because it reduces the cost. Number one, it reduces the cost that go to the patient because the patient pay for all this
Yes, they do.
service that they need, they deserve. Okay, and that's a fact. If they drop that thing, allow all of us to work together, it's amazing. And I'm going to share with you because I'm now you're talking to my field electronic now. Okay, I used to be a design and build system. Back in the '80s and so, we built things that we don't have what we have today. Today we have a smart microprocessor, we have EEPROM, we store data onto EEPROM, and we allowed to eject the code when it's something go wrong. Let's go back to the past. To the past, we don't have that. Every time if you do a PM on any device, I don't care what device you do, they don't, number one thing, they never, manufacturer never give you a service manual. They never did. So you have to learn on your own. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
I learn on the own meaning I used to have a oscilloscope and I used to have a voltmeter, okay, a frequency counter, a generator, even though I fixed the environment, okay. So we have all these things here. We create our own test point, okay. So we take the good equipment and we create a total test point. And then that test point, that's how we value our reference, okay?
Hmm.
So when time for us to do the PM, okay, we intend to look at that value that so we can check the frequency at the correct way, the correct way, look at on the oscilloscope correct way, and do all that stuff. It's a fact. That's back then, okay? And if you bike in the 80 like me, you cannot work on any climate equipment unless you went to an engineer and get an electronic engineer. I'm speaking to you here. Because there is nothing for you. You got to learn how to look at the trace, circuit trace, finding resistor, capacitor, and all that, and start draw your own, and then that's how you do it.
So
That's how I did it back then.
I can tell you,
Okay?
Gary, maybe it's because I'm coming from a different world, and that I was a military biomed, and the military mandates, or they used to, that if they buy any device, that they get service manuals. So I've always had access, especially in the early days of my career. Like we've had access to like printed manuals, and they were really in depth. Like they went into circuit theory, which, guys, if you're ever curious about like how ESUs work and stuff, look up old service manuals like Valley Lab. Look up those service manuals back in the day, and they will tell you about the frequencies that you should see with an oscilloscope and stuff. And now you understand what cut and coag and stuff is. It's absolutely amazing because they talk about the circuitry and the watchdog circuits that control those circuits, and they give it a lot of detail. And those manuals are out there. I mean, yeah, that circuitry is technically very old, but we still see those units. Hell, I probably have one of those units right over here behind me. They're still there. They're still out in the field. But I get what you're saying. Public information is, so right now we're in this realm where you have access to secure information. Before, it was hard controlling access. We can do that now. GE has done it. They have their own like portal where you can log in and you can download service manuals to their entire library of stuff, right? They can control access. So here's one of the misnomers about right to repair is they want to say that we want unfettered access to training and materials. That's not what we wanted at all, actually. What we wanted was access to training and materials and parts. But you have to assume that it's kind of like with automotive industry, which is kind of went down the same road. They had to offer training so you could get like OEM certified, technicians. And with that, if you wanted to be a Ford dealership, you're a subsidiary. But in that, you are regulated. Like they'll come through, if you are in charge of a certain city, what they'll do is they will come through and they'll inspect you every once in a while to make sure that you're maintaining standards. So they'll offer you training and they'll offer you parts. But if you're going to be a service partner, they will inspect you periodically. And that's all that we're asking, is that not that everybody can service every device out there. That is really not the goal. The goal is to make sure that we diversify. Because if only the OEM is doing service, then what we are doing is we're putting ourselves at their mercy. And that's really the problem. We've seen that during COVID. They couldn't travel across state lines, or they logistically ran into complications and now they don't have parts or whatever. Whereas, the third party, they had used units they'd take parts out of, or they'd lease you a unit. I mean, COVID taught us a lot of lessons. I don't think right to repair would be where it is today if it wasn't for COVID. What do you guys think?
I agree. It's been a long coming, and they fight. They keep saying that, and like when I engage on that. And here's how we went to sit down and talk with manufacturers. They throw a few things at us. They see one thing that you guys, it's not trained by us, and because it's our product, we're putting our product out there for a reason. And if a patient is die 90% of the time, they're going to go to us first, litigation, and find out why, what happened, to find out before that You know what I mean? Before that, they hit the person that did it or how they do it right. So they're looking at legal way that these things here could be causing big and huge. So the only to maintain the service is to provide to the hospital. Is that mean argument? Okay, that's their argument. They're saying that because we're not qualified, that they made the product, and that product we're not training it. And then here's big. When I was here local here in my hospital back in year 2000 when I got into it. When my director of facility always asked me, Gary, I want you to get involved every time we buy new equipment because I came from consumer electronics. We always demand service manual, okay, and training. And the hospital they never not done that because they fear that every time you ask for training, they charge extra. You see what I'm saying? And a hospital have a budget, right? So nope, we don't have the budget to send you to school. Then we're gonna say, nah, forget it. Then they tend to they hold us hostages, right? They hold the hospital hostage by saying, you see, if you let us do the 5-year contract or take care of all your devices after you buy until the end of life, 7 years, it will cost you a lot less because we can save you money. But if you want to send your technician to go to our school, now we're going to add $30,000-$40,000 on top. In the hospital, when you deal with director that deal with finance, they can say, "Oh no, 30,000? Oh, no way, I can't do that. Let's scrap that." You see, so there's a lot of component that we can possibly look at the financial aspect that we not talk about now. I'm letting out the secret here now. They look at the factor of money to send someone to the class. It was the manufacturer came back and told them, well, it's cheaper if I continue to maintain your equipment rather than you send them out there. So that's a 50-50 the decision to make.
Right.
And to argument into the court of law, that's what they throw, and they throw a lot about saying, because you're not fully understand my product because you're not us. And if we train you a week, it doesn't make you an expert. But here's the thing, no one challenged them by saying, hey, if I get trained a week, it's better because at least you still have your tech support that we can call in for that.
Yes.
But no one ever challenged that.
You know something?
You know, you see my point?
The imaging industry,
but I never got to go and talk about it.
So in the industry of imaging, there's something called first look contracts. Okay? Yeah. They're everywhere, and they're a huge discount if you send somebody off to training and you get first look, and they're very successful. Now, there are a lot of questionable imaging engineers out there who are just either lazy or incompetent. And guys, I'm not hitting on imaging engineers. I've done imaging too. But the fact of the matter is, you guys should know that there's a lot of you in there that shouldn't be engineers. All right? There just is. And the thing is with first look contracts, they give them an out. Like if you can't figure it out, you can just call the manufacturer. What would change things if the manufacturer suddenly one day said, we'll let you call us 5 times a year, and then we'll start billing you. They don't currently have those limitations that I'm aware of. And I know a lot of imaging engineers who they like got out of school and they went straight into imaging, have minimal comprehension of clinical applications or even circuit theory. And the fact of the matter is they go down, they look at it, they see an error code. First thing they do is call the company. Anybody can do that. So guys, that brings me to a very important point. Now, one of the reasons I want to train people so much in biomed or imaging is so that we maintain our professional status. We are a skilled trade, and if we outsource everything, we already talked about earlier, Danny mentioned something about how we can reach out to other people and we can outsource certain things, and Gary talked about how we could just contact the company. We have to remember one very big concept is if we outsource everything, what do we need you for?
Exactly.
That's one of the main things I want to hit on here, guys, is that we have to maintain our education level. We have to be useful. Every one of us. Danny has to be useful. Gary has to be useful. Every one of us has to be useful in order to show our value. Because it's through our value that we actually earn our paychecks, right? I mean, we could be earning $45,000 a year if we outsource everything. I know for a fact I can pay somebody to sit here and log service calls and contact companies all day long. That's what a lot of biomeds do. They just outsource everything. And by doing so, why do I need to pay you $60,000, $70,000 a year? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I love this question. I feel very comfortable with this vendor management
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to leave vendor management for those things that, you know, are beyond our skill set. But I often find, you know, in my world that it's, you know, sometimes in-house departments are more suspect to this, or, you know, not suspect, but they're more susceptible to this happening because there's people that don't know the difference at the hospital level, right? And so, you know, we have to look at, you know, leadership to help out with, you know, where those lines are, where does it make sense? But I think we need to standardize it. I mean, my opinion is what is the standard and how do we make it clear to our clients where it does make sense to go out, right? Because I don't think they know. And that's my concern as administrators, leadership at hospitals, they look to us and they're like, you guys got it. You guys got it. It's like, no, we really need you to be involved with this process. We need you to, you know, help us understand, you know, what's valuable to you. Because I can make sure it's fixed and I'll be happy to do that. But that could be just with a phone call and you could get charged $20,000 where I could do it myself for two, you know? So yeah, it's like, and then creating that value prop for the end user within those, you know, within those, I don't know, specific parameters. Like here's one way, and financial risk, right? Financial risk is a big deal. And when you talk about coverage levels and things like that, I think we're getting into that sort of conversation too, is, you know, if they felt like confident, if they felt confident that they could get through time and materials what they needed, then they might make the right financial risk choice for their hospital and save money through that. But whenever we're calling out to outside vendors and they're getting a huge bill on top of what we're, you know, they're paying us for our job, they're not going to have those conversations. We lose their trust. Every time that happens, we lose trust. And I'm actually coincidentally going through something very similar to this in my company right now, where we had a tech manager that would just, you know, take the call and then hang up the phone and then call in an outside third party vendor, a friend of his, you know, and sometimes even his own company, frankly. And it was like you lose trust every time that happens to begin with. But then who are you calling in? You know, how did you vet these people? You
Right.
know, what did they do that you couldn't do? And you lose so much trust, man. I mean, from my perspective, that's a huge that we're going to lose the account once you lose that level of trust, and then it'll be outsourced to, you know, Trimedics or somebody. I mean, whoever it is, right? Whoever it goes to, you know, the in-house department lose all that trust, and we as an industry lose a lot too, I think.
Right. You're absolutely right. Gary, what do you think?
My take on this is summed down to one simple. You come from an army. I'm from an army. You know, army believe one thing: to fight the battle, you gotta train, train. If hospital are putting money invest in the people, okay, I put them to training and let them perfect their skill set. That will take away the pain point that they have. The number one thing that you know and I know that let's just don't talk about imaging. That imaging is a specialty niche. Just hospital today, 90% of the hospital across the US, okay, they are failed miserable on the big volume of equipment on the general environment. For example, infusion pump. That's a large major failure. And I must say this is not say this to all our guys. Is I share this that, you know, let's just say you have a hospital of 500 beds and you have 2,000 infusion pump or other device, right? And then you have five guys, and these five guys here, they don't have enough time to take care to do the proper way because remember every day when they walk into the shop, they get phone call, right? They got special project. They got so much thing to do, so they eat up all their day right there. And when they have one one hour, it's impossible for you to do those equipment, those infusion pumps. It's those infusion pumps, those devices. It need love and care. And then what will happen to us? We intend to do shortcut. When the shortcut, now we're talking about make those equipment become more vulnerable, more dying and go to a broken into pieces. Okay, and then now I
Right.
speak to hospital every day, and I address it. They know that. They say, Gary, that's our pain point. But let's do this. Hospital cannot. You can say you can in-house all these things yourself. I like that, but I must say this: it does not work. You're gonna have to need the local partnership with the third party somehow. To me, I would say if the hospital listen to this thing here, successful, partner it and let the third party take on the infusion pump, the device that you cannot control. You know what I mean? Let them take it on
Right.
it and then hold them accountable because if you can give them volume, the cost reduce.
That's
You
right.
see, that cost will become down. When that become down, you make money. Your technician not burned down. Your hospital not out of budget and not out of compliance. I'm talking this, man. That's big.
Hmm.
Every time I'm managing the hospital on the high risk equipment, we don't have that problem. Like you just say, you train one engineer to do the level one, do all the simple check, right? If it passes simple check, you can't fixing it. You get them to come in, the third party contract or the manufacturer to come in because they have different peer level. So forget that. Leave that alone. But the vulnerable that the hospital are right now, it's hurt the most. That pain point is the general environment.
Hmm.
That five guy in the shop, as soon he walked in there, the poor man got so many things to go different direction. How can the poor man be do?
Well, Gary,
And hospital, right? You have 6th floor, 7th floor. You take half a day to walk. Hello, how are they gonna do that?
I've worked at some of the biggest hospitals in the nation, and I can tell you that there's some interesting points, and I'm gonna bring up P West points in just a moment. We have all kind of hit on something that I really want the viewers of this. I mean, this video is going to stay live for years to think about. Here in 2023, we are transitioning to a healthcare system that is actually third party. It's unavoidable. There's certain things, Gary, you're absolutely right, that should be delegated. If you only have so many staff members, why would you take those staff members down for half a month to do an infusion pump project when you can outsource that infusion pump project to biomeds that come in from out of state as a contract, and now your staff keeps their numbers up, right? Because the contract says by the end of the month you're going to do X amount of pumps, whatever. And meanwhile, your biomeds continue doing repairs. They continue doing recalls and stuff like that. You don't short staff yourself. I think the reason that a lot of hospital systems fall short nowadays is poor management. And management, your number one thing is that you have to take whatever resources you have and find a way to make it work with your resources. And one of your resources is your ability to contract out certain things. But a lot of managers in American healthcare system get bonuses at the end of the year, and they don't want to booger that up, okay? So if you get like 10% back, I'm talking like $30,000, $50,000 bonus some of these managers of these healthcare systems get, they will sit there and they will burn out technicians like it's going out of style because they want to get their bonus at the end of the year. I think that is the plague on American healthcare system right now with our career, is that these guys are chasing bonuses and trying to cut costs everywhere they can so they can maintain their quota, so they can get their bonus at the end of the year, and they burn out technicians. And really what we need to do is certain things need to be delegated. Infusion pump projects, installation projects, new equipment. If the hospital just buys like, let's say 150 defibs, do you know how much work 100 defibs take to set up? That takes weeks because you have to remove items, you have to put items out there, you have to train the staff. I mean, it takes weeks to do that. Contract that out, okay? That way there, your biomeds stay focused on what their goals are, and that way there you press forward. But that's not how they do it, because they would rather stress their own biomeds for this month to get that defib project out or something that could be outsourced. And I'm telling you, it's you got to follow the money. It's one of my rules in life. But what do you guys think about that? I think the American healthcare system is moving towards third party, and my proof is nursing and perfusion. Find nurses or perfusion that are in-house. Most of them, especially perfusion, are all contracts across the entire country.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is right on, Justin. And the thing that, from my perspective, that I notice is, yeah, they are driven by certain other motivations, these decision makers, right? But they also don't know, right? And I think that when we can help them understand clearly what our business is, we all kind of win with that. And it's so, like, I was interested in what Gary was saying. So for IV pumps, there's a certain level where it does make sense to do that, right? Or for defibrillators, whatever it is. But I think I mean, I always did. I always assumed that they always knew best, but there's no way they do. Now that I know hospitals the way I do, they're a mess. They're a mess. So if we could give them a guide of some sort that just says, look, in this case, this is what you do, then I think they would buy in if they had the right trusting relationship with us, right? And then they would do it right. They wouldn't burn out techs. They would see the longer game. But that's a hard thing. What I'm talking about is very hard. But I don't think they know, frankly. It's been my experience. They just don't know what we think they know sometimes.
Okay, so what you're saying actually goes back to don't attribute to malice what could be ignorance. I get you.
Yeah,
I get you.
exactly.
I get you.
Yeah, no, it's like,
Okay. I say it's malice, but you say it's ignorance, which you're probably right.
there's a mix. I mean, there are some people that might know better, or you're getting bad advice too. I think when you go to the OEMs and that's the only option. Sometimes that's too expensive, right? They're looking at Baxter and they're saying, hey, I can't afford that. I'm going to try to do it this way to cut corners because that makes sense, the money we save. But they don't realize they're losing down the road. They're not educated on that,
That's
the
true.
impact of that, right?
You're
So
absolutely true.
the decision right in front of us is tough. And I am kind of, I'm sympathetic, or sorry, empathetic to these administrators in a lot of cases, because some of them, like the rural hospitals you were mentioning, they just don't have the money. They're not bonused on anything. Those folks are just trying to make it, and I can tell you they don't know. They're always coming to me, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm just one of those. I've always kind of thought, hey, I'm going to think that the person's coming to me has this message of purity. There's purity in what they're asking,
Okay.
and I genuinely want to help them through that. And I do find, oddly enough, that it's whether they've been there for 10 years in that role or 20 years as a CEO, they just haven't really dug in, and nobody's really helped them navigate through that. So, and by the way, when you do that, you're also gaining a relationship and building trust with those people when you help them, navigate through these tough choices. And then you're showing them, like, this is strategic, man. Like, it's it may not make sense right now, but you and I trust each other. So just let's take let's take this path together, and I'll show you what I mean.
Okay. I get it. It is an opportunity for rapport. I completely agree. I've seen both sides of it where,
Yeah.
it's true that it is sheer ignorance, and, it is an opportunity. I see everything as an opportunity now. That's actually, between my talks with you and some other people, that's one of the things that I've learned, that even if it was malice, it's still opportunity. So those are some
sometimes, like,
very good points.
It's tough. I trust me, I've conformed a lot in my career because I had to make it. Gary and I had this conversation too. Like, I wore a tie and now I wear a hat, right? Because I
It's a good hat, though.
to be a part of the club. But in that club, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. I mean, and they do. There is malice. I've seen that too. I'm not. I completely agree with you that I've seen that. It's just, even if there is malice, how do we cope with that and then try to turn it into a better situation for the hospital? That's still a challenge that I'd love to take on. Is I see what this is, and I'm going to try to help regardless.
It's true, because the end goal is still about the patient.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter if somebody's trying to line their own pockets or not. In the end, you want to not pass those costs on to the patient, and you got to find a way to do it. It's true.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Gary, what do you think, sir?
My thought on the whole subject here, I hate to bring this up because I'm hitting it. It's a bigger problem. For the last 3 years, I investigated. I looked from an outside third-party vendor, looking in, working with them. I see the disconnect between the site manager or the director or regional director of the program, like the bioclinical environment, and who in charge, which is a C-suite. Okay, because this guy fear to go telling this guy. Okay, and this guy do not want to talk about this guy because I'm above you all. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying here? So
Oh yeah.
this disconnect needs to stop because these two people here need to learn to work together. Yeah, and this is what I always say that we're talking about peer level education, right? If I got a PhD, I'm not going to go talk to an associate degree. You see how bad it is? You come up to me, and this guy's right here. See what I'm saying? So
Okay.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
We need to stop that, break that down, because you know what? At the end game, like we all say, the patient is the one that suffers with the cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it, because we two here does not like each other, or this guy here insecure to report to this guy,
Yeah.
worry about, I got a cushion money. I'm making six figure plus bonus.
Yeah.
Why the hell am I going to stir the pot and go telling Caesar
Right.
something and I might lose my career? You know what I mean?
Well,
So that's
guys,
the problem.
I can tell you here's something crazy. I've said it often very publicly that Texas is the medical center of the entire world. And that's one of the reasons I moved here to Texas is because if it's happening here. But did you know that Texas closed 6 hospitals in the last month?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's crazy. And that's why I fight for this tirelessly, because those are communities. They're not big hospitals that closed, not by any means. Those are dislocated communities. And if we can empower those communities, even if it's not real biomeds, let's say you have an electrician who wants to be a biomed, he's willing to do his due diligence, train. We offer him training, you know. Gary does training, I do training. I mean, hell, you offer opportunities there, Danny. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is we all try to empower these regions and these people, because they're supporting entire communities that could be hundreds of miles away from anybody else. And it's absolute shame. Could you imagine driving well over 100 miles to get healthcare?
No, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had this like some of the videos I put out, the postings, right? The content has been just that. And you know, Scott Becker and I have that same conversation. You know, we don't have we don't have the support in the public forum. There's no discussion going on around rural hospitals, and so we're trying to kind of make this a bigger topic than AI, but everybody's focused on the national narrative, right? But losing a rural hospital is going to cause us to lose lives, and it's profound, you know, because these are retirees. We're talking about baby boomers that are living in these rural regions more so. I mean, because you know, the difference between Gen Zers and the baby boomers, you know, is pretty wide gap. But you know, the ones that are out there that are able in the rural hospitals, you know, typically sometimes they move out because they want to be closer to, you know, and so it's leaving the most vulnerable part of our population in a complete crisis. And we don't, I mean, nobody's talking about it. Like,
I know.
mean, I'm so glad you brought it up, Justin. You mentioned it earlier about rural hospitals, but it's going to tax everything. So I put out a poll the other day. I said, who should be helping? Should it be the state government? Should it be the local community? Should it be the federal government? Or should it be the large hospital systems? My personal opinion is I think the large hospital systems should step up, and we should start sharing best practices across all spectrums. Don't, like Gary said before, because you have an ego, don't put somebody down, or don't not share information, right? We have to use all these resources at our disposal, I think, in order just to save us out of the crisis. We're in a crisis right now.
Yes, we are. And most people don't even realize it yet, because we are just at the beginning of what is going to be an inflation iceberg. And most people just, I mean, we're not even going to get into financials. We could do a whole other program on that. However, the fact of the matter is there's always precursors to what's going to happen. I mean, when you see businesses closing, I mean, why would businesses be closing in Texas? We're booming right now. Why? Because there's some bad juju. There's some bad stuff that's been going on for the last couple of years. And the thing is there's a lot of costs that have been just dramatically increasing for little to no reason.
Yeah, no, you brought up the question earlier. And I wanted to say something. This is about the COVID. What did COVID do to change? Well, for a glimpse, we all came together and we put all the BS aside. And I remember that we were desperate, you know, and that feeling, I think, was, you know, it got us out of our comfort zone. And I think we made better choices, interpersonal choices. You know, we focused more on you know, the rest of our human beings throughout the country. We focused on people, and we were scared. And I loved how we behaved when we were scared. I love the attitude we had, like we're in this together. It actually felt closer, you know. I talked to nurses, I do an interview with nurses, and they were in the, you know, they were in the trenches, frankly. And there's PTSD for days, you know, for these nurses that are still in the trenches, and they still have to go to work every day, and they still have to pass their knowledge on to everybody else. And guess they're doing it for the greater good. They're doing it because it's in their heart. You have people like Gary who, you know, he's willing to give whatever he can give if somebody would just be willing to take his help.
Hmm.
It's hard to get people to help sometimes, like
That's
get,
crazy.
get people to take the help, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is all, you know, out of COVID. You know, I saw glimpses of really brilliant, you know, sort of behavior and attitude between, you know, just human beings, and sharing of information and sharing of resources. And I love that. But now it's like people are starting to retreat back into their own camps and starting to, you know, get political again. And it's a shame to see. But I think we saw a glimpse of what we could do.
Well,
You know,
COVID.
lead,
Yeah, go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
did you say that lead to COVID? You remember that 2020, the propaganda on all news, right? Talking about millions of die in Los Angeles. And it's a true story about my company, and we dedicate for it. So right then, Governor Newsom and the mayor of Los Angeles opened up a St. Vincent on 3rd Street that's been closed down because the hospital cannot make it anymore. They closed it down. But they need to reopen any building facility so it can take on the overflow that they talk about dying due to COVID, right? You know what? Newsom and the mayor of Los Angeles asked Dignity Health and Kaiser to collaborate to open up that building, okay, that hospital. And guess what? None of them buying it willing to sacrifice their own life to go work there. And guess what? My company what got chosen to go running that place. You can go look on Google on Los Angeles Search Hospital, which is successful, and they shut it down. The media never talk about it. Okay, no dying. And you know, in 7 days, Danny and Justin, in 7 days, my dedicated team, including me, I just got done surgery. Okay, not even healed yet. I went down there and I asked my guy, I say, listen, guy, this is real strategies happening here. If you're passionate about saving lives, I don't care if I die today. That's what I told my guy. This is what motivated one to jump on me and say, I don't care if I die today. I will have my reward in heaven. Okay. And I'm gonna ask everyone, if you have the same passion, let's go. Let's go and join me and go and managing this place, managing it successful. I'm talking volunteer for my team. All going in, okay?
Hmm.
In 7 days, Danny and Justin, we got everything put back together and open up in 7 days, okay? And we ran for about 2-3 months, successful save the state in the city of money. They're talking about coming up 2-3. I'm talking about like $20-30 million into that place, but it turned out to be just very little. In 2 months, nobody died 1 or 2, you know, died because they so badly sick that can't survive, you know. And remember the propaganda about ventilator?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
talking with states send ventilator like 100 up to us,
Yeah.
and we don't been using it.
Do you know how many
You know what I
ventilators
mean?
are out there
So
in
we don't even
circulation
use
right
that
now,
machine.
not being used?
So I can share you with that, man. Like it's all about passion. It's about what's right for patients, not about the money we're going to make. You know,
Well,
and
I
that's
completely
why
agree.
needed. We
So,
don't go because of the money. We go because we see human beings suffering and they can't help themselves. What are we gonna do? Like you just talk about the ruler. People that are moving out to the countryside because they cannot afford to stay in the city. The cost of living so high, and they're retiring, right? The baby booming.
mhm.
So I get that. I'm passionate about that. You know what I mean? So uh, to all in conclusion, you know, I want to say this that to all your people that are looking at both of you, you know, you got followers, right? I'm gonna ask people that as our followers, please stop giving us a thumbs up or heart. Write a comment. You know, this is to be a movement. If everybody write a comment on your website or LinkedIn, your or mine, this is what our movement we just talking about. You guys want a movement? This a movement. If everyone
Yeah.
write an article, LinkedIn will shake up. Somebody in the high up will see it. They're gonna shake up. They're gonna say, "Oh my God,
You're
there
right.
is something moving here."
There is an algorithm, and it pays attention to what people care about. And right now, we are fortunate because right now, one of the hot topics is right to repair. And that's the only reason that, legislatures are doing what they're doing, is because people are paying attention. And people are paying attention because now we control the media when it comes to social media. More people spend time on social media than they ever do watching the news. That's never happened before in human history. So right now it is the time that every single one of us has a voice. And if you express your opinion, algorithms change. They're very dynamic. And they pay attention to what people care about because they always want to see what's hot. And if nobody's talking about something, it'll never be hot. Right? That's just the way social media works. And any of you that are out there that are watching this, it means even one little comment about something adds to the algorithm. It could be somewhere, someplace on some news article. The algorithm knows, believe it or not. It's not like some master AI that's watching everything, but in turn it kind of is. But there is two sides to the topic that we were just on for COVID. So one side is that third parties ensured America's success, and every one of us are part of that formula. See, many other countries across Europe failed when it came to COVID, and they failed miserably because they didn't have logistical support or service support or equipment support. Why did America succeed? We flourished, in fact. Almost every single company that deals with medical flourished. And I think that's because third parties propped up the American healthcare system during COVID. I mean, logistically, so many OEMs said, oh, we don't have the part, or we can't get it, or whatever, that some third party out there had a fleet of units that they either loaned out or they parted out or something. And, even Gary's got equipment. I've seen some of your stuff, man.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
every single one of us, we all, and that's part of networking too, right? Because during COVID, I was working at a very large medical center down here at Texas Medical Center. I was working at a very large hospital, and I reached over to one of my team members, and I said, hey man, I really need a bulb. Do you guys have this kind of bulb? And I went over to a competing hospital, I guess you could say competing, and I got some bulbs so that one of my OR rooms wouldn't be down because I couldn't get these bulbs anywhere. They're sold out. I went to the OEMs. I tried everything I could to get these bulbs. It was a special bulb. Well, the neighboring hospital had them. So that's the same thing as going to a third party, right? Because they have a stock, a supply, and we can borrow. So what I did is I ordered, and when they came in a month and a half later, could you imagine an OR being down for a month and a half?
Yep.
That's not even, it's not even in the question. I mean, there's hundreds of people that could have got serviced. That's hundreds and hundreds of man hours worth of staff. What? Did they not get paid because you have an OR room down? I mean, I live in Houston, and we have right now, 5-6 million people here in the city. Having one OR room down when there's maybe 500 OR rooms, is that even a question? It's not. I mean, 5 or 6 million people, 500. I mean, think about the disproportionate. So one of the things I wanted to point out is that third parties, every single one of us had a piece to do with why America succeeded for COVID. Right. And that's why right to repair is so vital, and that's why we're on the fighting side right now, is because we've seen it. We've seen the downside, and we've seen when we team up as a community and we work together, whether it's sharing information, parts, whatever. The other thing is we are now much more aware of how vulnerable our system is. All right, before we were thinking, yeah, we're at the top of the world, and now we realize, holy cow, that was close. That was too close. And I don't know about you guys, but it's going to happen again, all right? And I'm 100% certain that something like this logistically is going to happen again, where we're pretty much limited. How are we going to succeed?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is brilliant, Justin. This is why I love what you're doing, and I'm inspired by how long you've done it. You got into this game really early.
Yeah.
You know the power of this, right? And this is what I mean. Like, why would we let somebody else create a narrative? It's not going to be in our best interests.
Yeah.
Why don't we just own it and say third parties held us up in the moment of crisis, and and just describe it. Great messaging, right? but let's together we can be super powerful. We just showed that when we had to, but I feel like we have to. I feel like we're still in a crisis. I don't
Yeah.
feel like it's over to me, right? So I think you're right. I think just how do we take that message, own it, and then everybody talk about it, and then we put it out in social media. Our future is in social media anyway, right? I mean, Gen Zers and millennials, the baby boomers on their way out are not going. They don't participate in TikTok. They don't participate in Instagram like they should, and they're not seeing the public conversation. They're seeing what they want to see on LinkedIn, which, like you said, is measured. People don't engage on LinkedIn like they will on other platforms because they're afraid their boss might see them. And I get it. I'm
That's true.
empathetic to that, right? So, like, there's another conversation going on that I think everybody needs to hear. And right now, people are upset. People, the general public's upset with healthcare. And so, like, I agree. Let's take this narrative, let's own it, and let's just say, hey, look, we were here, and this is what we did, by the way. And so I feel like it's a good thing, and I feel like we should do that. I mean, Gary, do you agree with that? Like, why don't we take ownership?
I'm 100% with you guys. You know what I mean? Because this remember I just want to say this phrase again. Remember John Kennedy saying,
Yeah,
not what America can do, but what we all can do. So if we inspire, if three of us inspire, if we united, combining our talent and combining our follower and telling our follower right now to just contagious the information, right? But again, don't no thumbs up, no heart, no nothing, just right. If they can do that, that's the movement for us.
Mhm.
And I want to see the American fight because I'm tired of it. I'm
yeah,
tired of the greater country that I believe, you know. I survived killing field. My father, my family wiped out. Okay, completely wiped out. No one alive. And I thank God that I made it here. And I'm here in this greater country on the planet Earth. But right now, I'm looking at this country like I would live in Cambodia again. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's so surreal, right? And I don't want that. I don't want to see the new chain that changed America in the ugly way. I want West compassion where I can leave my door open and nobody gonna come and rob me. You know what I mean? I want that kind of thing. That's what America is all about, you know? Like the story of that one black guy was who
yeah,
grabbed me, put me in his car, and took my check. I thought he steal from me, but it's not. He go cash for me. He took me to the downtown, buy me a pass for a month that I don't even speak English, don't even know what the hell am I doing, right? And I regret not know his name because I don't even speak English. How am I going to write his name down, right? I
right.
don't know. So I regret that, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's some good, deep heart human being in America. A lot of it, not just a little, a lot.
yeah.
If we
A
Wow.
can
lot of them are here, Gary.
re-amplify that, a lot of good.
A
Yes,
lot of them
yes,
are here in our industry. Like, I
yes,
don't know.
yes,
I don't know how to help tell people this, but Justin, but like you and Gary, the people I've interviewed, they're all been great, but the people in our industry have something that is so genuine, and I know the people in the hospitals love you guys. They love what we do. They're curious. They're absolutely curious. But everybody I've seen at some level has a heart of gold, and they're wanting to help, and they're there for the right reasons. And I think like Gary's saying, if we could show those people to the world, there'd be no doubt. There'd be no doubt the value that we're bringing. And then I think it would encourage other people to have more confidence, right? And that's what we're after. Like, you guys are amazing. The people on this call are amazing, and there's a lot of people that think that about you. And so let's just let's just help. Like, let's do this.
yes,
You're waiting
yes.
for us.
Yes, I'm not. You know what? I don't look back. This is my life. I never look back. I never look what happened in the past. I always look forward. I don't stop in resentment or, or go to a frozen moment time, right? And be a dope or drunken and try to get away from what happened and go into the future unknown. I just had no fear of that. You know what I mean? Because when I survived in Cambodia killing field,
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. So I'm talking about every minute. If one word that I say wrong or one action or my behaving wrong, I get executed.
Yeah.
They execute my sister back in 1978. My dad, they execute him in 1977
Jesus.
because they found out that my dad was the colonel for United States Army during the Vietnam War. Okay,
Wow.
they took him and executed. Yeah, and then my sister, within blink of an eye, that they found out she can read. She can read Cambodian language because one of the girls asking her, because the letter come from home. Okay, they were all live in the jungle working. Okay,
That's wild, man.
and my sister read for her, and they heard that she reading. Within less than an hour, they came and took my sister, and I never saw my sister ever again.
You know,
And my story,
that's crazy. Gary, that's insane.
my story in the same year, 78, okay, 78, I think September 78, because I had malaria. I cannot work. So every day by 12 noon, I get up we dig the canal, okay? By 12 noon, I like this. You know what I mean? Every day, they sick and tired of seeing me sick like that. So one evening, this is my life within in less than an hour. They came to execute me. And it's a fact true story, okay? Three girls that loved me so much, those three old girls, I couldn't find them. I went back to Cambodia and looked for them. I couldn't find. I heard that one killed, one died, and one don't know where. Another one I couldn't even find it. I want to go back home and to just hugging them and giving them some money. Say because of you, that's why I alive. I made it to America. Okay.
Wow.
They rushed coming from where they were to tell me. They say you need to get out now.
Gary, that's so crazy.
Get you. And this is 30 minutes. 30 minutes. I missed 30 minutes. So I'm looking, where the hell do I go? All those girls say, you need to get the hell out of here. Wherever you go, just go. So I walk along the river bank, going, the river flow.
Yeah.
That way I go right down that way to the city of Battambang, okay? And I found the Islam people, because a lot of Islamic, for the genocide, they killed almost Islam too that time.
Wow.
Okay? And I begged the old guy, said, hey, they're about to kill me. I have no place to go. Please take me in. And I don't even know how to row the boat, throw the net. And I say, please, just whatever. And the guy say, hey, if you stay here, they kill me too. They find out you're here. So he gave me a boat. He said, go down the river. I have to keep going down the river. He said, as long as you bring me some fish, I justify to tell the government that I catch the fish, okay?
Right.
So that's how I survive. I don't even know those old folk. If they are alive today, they're probably in the 90s already.
That's crazy, Gary.
So,
Gary, well, guys, I want to keep us back on track, Gary. I got to keep us on track. Yeah. I want to, Gary, I want to sit down someday. I know that you sat down with Danny and you talked in some detail. And honestly, if you haven't written a book yet, I would be amazed. Gary, you got to write a book, man. Dude, you have a story that should be a movie. You really do. I mean, because we've talked about you going back to Cambodia later in life and stuff, and it's absolutely insane. But guys, I have to keep us on track because we are actually coming to the end of the show. One of the things I do want to get you guys' opinion on, you guys have a lot of experience currently in the industry. Where do you guys think we're going to be going in the next 5 years? What do you think?
I think AI have to say in that, frankly, and I hope that we can find ourselves in a more valuable position, not in the basement, right? And that's just really kind of always been my point of view. Is we're on the cusp of becoming that value add to the administration in hospitals. And I think if we stay focused and come together, use social media, all the tools at our availability, then I think we can accomplish that. And then the more valuable we become, the more relationships we have with administration, I think the world's the limit. We'll be involved with all the IT projects. We'll be involved with other things that are more valuable than just break fix. Using the data that we're going to collect from what we're doing can be super valuable. So I think we're going to kind of move away probably more from using the tools, hand tools and things like that, to even more into the software and things. So like, how do we use the data versus how do we, response time is a big deal and people love us for that, but how are we going to use all that good data from all the hard work? I think that's where the focus will be in the next 5 years, frankly.
That's a good point. You're absolutely right, to be honest. So we're going to have to do more with less. We know that. Yeah. Every single one of us knows it. And how are we going to do it? Third party, we're a solid option. Yeah. That's what I believe.
Me too.
What about you, Gary? Where do you think we're going to be in the next 5 years? Because it's going to go quick. It's definitely going to go quick.
Next 5 years, I see that if the environment or the hospital don't listen to this podcast here and don't be proactive and be alert and make a big change now, it's going to be a big problem because, like you just say, COVID, it's not go away. There might be some new disease coming up and more stronger than this. And I don't think that the new generation environment they're ready yet because, like you say, 5 years from now, there's a lot of baby booming are getting out, and they getting out with the knowledge go with them.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Not giving it back to community. That's why I do this awareness. That's why I'm loud about this thing about give it back to community. Teach them, put them back so that way they have your skill set. And here's the thing that inspires everyone. When you teach someone and give the skill set, when you die or you go away, that means you still alive because you live in that person. That person is you. They never thought of that. You see, the insecure human being, we never thought. But selfish, we don't thought. Let's stop the selfish, the insecure, but give it back that way. You are living in that person. And this is a 5 year I'm saying right now, and I see that that's a big problem. If we don't do that in 5 years, if it's another major health crisis again, but we're not ready. AI is the one factor, you know what I mean? That one factor will help support the big dollar machine.
Okay.
But the vulnerable machine is a small machine that the AI not embedded in that.
It's a good point.
They still need us touching the devices. So I'm looking at that. We need to equip, and hospitals need to start spending money in education. Look, if you're spending money education, people send to a factory. I know it costs about 10 grand per classes a week because with flights and food and everything, right?
You're pretty close.
What about you going to us? You come to me, I will give you a lot of different equipment for a lot less. You see what I'm saying? This is what we can partner.
So Gary,
we can do the 2 year internship program.
You're saying that you have a training program that people can sign up for, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gary, I'm going to get your details for that training program so we can leave it in the video description down below. We're going to detail what that training program is and who applies to it. Because Gary's goal is to get as many technical people as possible into this career field. We're even talking like nurses, anesthesia techs, you name it, people that have skills. Let's get you into our career field. Let's get you on the right foot. Gary's got an awesome program. I've seen part of his school. I want to stop by your school sometime, man. I really do.
Please come.
I really do.
Come.
So, and Danny, obviously you're starting to create quite the message out there. Both you guys' platforms are starting to grow. We're all growing together. And that's one of the reasons it was so important for me to have you guys on here for me is because you guys offer very unique perspectives, all right? Business owners, people that have been in executive levels, people that have been out there running contracts and training technicians. I mean, you guys are both pinnacles of this career field. And I want to thank you both so much for being here with me. Gary, you're absolutely right. AI. However, I will be doing a video. I'd love to do a video with you guys talking about AI. That's a topic that honestly was on my list. We didn't talk about it yet, but it's something that you gotta piece out like 30 to 40 minutes because easily the amount of content that we're gonna talk about. And I'll give you guys some cliff notes about what I'd like to accomplish in a future call. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on this podcast or on this YouTube video. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave contact information for LinkedIn for both these individuals in the video description. Add them to your LinkedIn network. As we've already specified in this video, networking is your #1 priority. Even if you're not that good of a technician, networking will make you an awesome technician because your network is the knowledge. We are past the day and age where you have to know everything. Your network can know the answers. You just have to know where to get them, right? That's where we are today. So where I believe in the next 5 years, AI is going to play a part. I think we can do more with less with AI. And I can prove that. We're going to do that on our next video. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Danny, so much,
Thanks,
you guys.
Justin.
Guys.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Austin.
How awesome. 2 leaders in our industry that are sitting here with me tonight on a Saturday night. kind of a last minute call. But guys, this is what I want to accomplish going forward, is the fact that we're going to pull leaders of our industry out. We're going to talk to them. We're going to get their point of view on some very sensitive topics. And you guys have done an amazing job. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And guys, stay tuned. Next weekend, I'm going to try and come up with some very interesting topics, maybe some heated ones. And we're going to see what everybody thinks next weekend. All right. Thanks for watching. Better Biomind Channel.